Well, after the thriller of an elimination game earlier today here in Regensburg, we are back for the second of our two WBC qualifier matchups from here at Armin Wolf Arena. One team tonight will clinch its berth in the 2023 World Baseball Classic, and the other is on to tomorrow to take on an upstart Czech Republic team with the second berth from this 2022 qualifier in the 2023 WBC. Hi, everybody. My name is Tyler Maughan, alongside former Team Australia and Seattle Mariners pitcher Ryan Rowland-Smith. Ryan, we had a good game earlier today. Germany took a 3-0 lead in the top of the first. From there, it was pretty much all Czech Republic on the way to an 8-4 win.
Yeah, that was brilliant today. I tell you what, the pitching, young Mikel Kovler, 18 years old, he was outstanding to finish that game off, but we have finally got to this point where teams are starting to, number one, get eliminated, but more importantly, stamp their ticket to get to the World Baseball Classic.
We know that we will have at least one first-time WBC participant, because we have 3 teams remaining, and only Spain, among the 3 that are left, has been in a WBC before, and that's important as we continue to push for the global growth of this game. As you take a look at Pool A here in Regensburg, the Czech Republic is there waiting for Game 9. The loser of this matchup will take on the Czechs coming up tomorrow night. The winner of this game is off to next year, and the winner of that game tomorrow will join them.
Yeah, it's good to see we have gotten to this point. Spain have been an absolute powerhouse. Great Britain with all the affiliated players. There's 10 of them, and led by Harry Ford behind the plate. And you see the potential resurrection of Vance Worley, longtime Major League, probably the most famous name you're going to hear at this Classic, is on the mound tonight for Great Britain.
The 2 6-team qualifying pools, we are nearly, as crazy as it is to think, we're nearly through the first one of them. We'll wrap this qualifier up here tomorrow in Regensburg with our 9th and final game. And then 10 days from today, we'll kick things off in Panama City as we get set to go for 6 more teams. Top 2 among those will likewise move into the 2023 WBC. And we are just about ready to roll for this one here in Regensburg. Ryan, this is the matchup of the 2 most talent-laden teams in Spain's starting lineup.
Yeah, it really is. And we talked about that lineup from Spain, highlighted by the guy hitting 2 in this lineup, the shortstop, Nueve Marte, top 20 prospect in all of baseball. Cincinnati Reds number 2 prospect. He is so much fun to watch. He was part of that big trade that got Luis Castillo to the Seattle Mariners. Essentially the biggest trade piece of the entire trade deadline, MLB trade deadline. Justin Collins hits right behind him. Your star is right after him. That's a really tough part in the middle of the lineup for Vance Worley.
And on the other side, it is Vance Worley who will go with this defensive group behind him. And for Vance Worley, like you said, an opportunity to reestablish himself on the baseball map.
Yeah, and you look at the defense too. Deshaun Knowles, Anthony Seymour, and Jaden Rudd. They are really dynamic, really athletic, good young athletic outfield. Nick Ward, the shortstop, Ken Blackstone up the middle. And the big name, the guy we've had so much fun to watch, Mariners' big prospect, Harry Ford, behind the plate.
There is Spain's manager, Nelson Prada. We saw him and the Great Britain coaching staff, his roster and Great Britain's roster, last night downtown. They were going out, having some team-building meals and a little time spent outside of the ballpark together. And there you see on the other side, Drew Spencer, who leads Great Britain into tonight.
Yeah, and so many good storylines. We got a chance to talk to Drew Spencer the first day we got in. And it's interesting just hearing his backstory, his lineage to the UK and Great Britain. He now lives in London, played D1 college baseball, and his entire roster too. Just hearing some of the stories that we'll get into tonight as we watch Spain versus Great Britain try and punch their ticket to the World Baseball Classic.
10 affiliated players on this Great Britain roster, another 5 on the Spain roster, out actually now with a 6th added to the roster. Orlando Hernandez has joined this team from the Minnesota Twins organization. Orlando Rodriguez, I should say, not El Duque. That would have been quite a surprise if El Duque showed up here at this 2023 WBC qualifier. There are the 6 teams in each of our qualifying pools. So here, getting set to wrap things up in Germany, France, South Africa. They have been eliminated. 3 teams remain. And starting in just 10 days, Pool B in Panama, led by the host nation from Panama.
Yeah, and you see a lot of these countries, non-baseball countries. Look, I come from a non-baseball country in Australia. It's good to see them have a chance to build something special for these last couple of months, build something special to get here to these qualifiers and try and get to the WBC.
You know, it may surprise a lot of people, but Vance Worley has been pitching independent ball for the last 2 years. This is a guy who was a pretty big-time prospect, pitched for a playoff team in the Philadelphia Phillies in 2011. He's been in the American Association the last 2 years.
Yeah, for Vance Worley, I think, first of all, big storyline, him being here representing Great Britain. But you mentioned it too. Look, he burst on the scene back in 2011 with the Philadelphia Phillies in a big-time starting rotation. You're talking Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, Cole Hamels. He was part of that rotation, had some really good years in the big leagues. And I think, and we've talked about a lot of these stories that come out of the World Baseball Classic and even these qualifiers where they get scouted, get a chance to really resurrect their career. So I'm excited. He looked good the other night. I'm excited to see him tonight.
A guy who, if I remember correctly, was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as part of that rotation at one time in the early 2010s, and we are just about ready to go as Angel Beltre will step into the batter's box to kick things off here for game number 8 of 9 from the 2022 World Baseball Classic qualifier. That is hard to believe that we are coming out of the end of this thing, but tomorrow we will wrap it up at 7 o'clock local time with a matchup between the Czech Republic and whoever does not come away winners from this one. At first pitch swinging, Angel Beltre, one former big leaguer off another. He's got himself a leadoff single up the middle.
And you can see him already showing some emotion back to his dugout. Now, Vance Worley, this is bread and butter right here. That sinking fastball, you're going to see plenty of balls hit on the ground. It's a sinker, it's a cutter slider, occasional changeup, and the curveball. But good sign. When he gets that ball on the ground, he's had an up and down career in the big leagues, and a part of his success is that really high ground ball rate.
Well, this is sort of the matchup that Seattle Mariner fans have been imagining in this World Baseball Classic qualifier. And you, a Mariner yourself, Noelvi Marte, formerly a top-ranked prospect in that system, he goes first pitch swinging, 2 pitches and 2 base hits for Spain, and they're in business to get things rolling in the first.
We talked about how important it is to keep this Spain lineup on the ground, and he's done that. But, man, they are coming out ambush mode. See the ball, hit the ball.
Those are some hard hit grounders up the middle and through the left side, and that'll bring up Justin Connell, the day 1 hero for Spain. Connell got the start in right field on day number 1. A Barcelona native, spent the first 9 years of his life living in Spain and now getting to represent his native country, and he'll take ball 1 elevated.
And you can see Vance Worley trying to kind of like, hey, get off me a little bit, throwing a breaking ball there the first pitch. I still think, though, when you get 2 ground balls like that, yeah, they're hard hit. Kind of tip your cap and say they might sneak through some holes, but you continue to do that, you get plenty of ground ball double plays, plenty of quick outs as well.
Connell lays the bunt down out of the 3 spot. Worley will go for him to get the sacrifice, and the out at first is 1-3.
And if you're tuning in from the U.S., I'm sure you are, we've got a lot of Mariner fans excited to watch Harry Ford, even see Noelvi Marte. You're going to see this a lot. Bunting from the first inning onwards. This is international style play. It's a little different to what we're used to seeing in the U.S., where it's more about on base, it's more about long ball, extra base hits. Every inning counts. And we saw that too, Tyler. The fact that we saw in the game this morning, Germany come out 3-0, Czech Republic tied up in that first, and there's nothing but Czech Republic. It's so crucial to try and get to these runs. I mean, you're talking third guy in the lineup, guys who's gone deep early in this tournament, drop a bunt down.
You know, and ordinarily when we see that, even on the international stage, you kind of identify it with Samurai Japan or Chinese Taipei or those types of teams. Primarily, I would say those two. Even Korea plays a little bit more of an American League style, but we know that the Japanese style generally has been play for that small ball run. Even 3-hole hitters, cleanup hitters, 5-hole hitters, everybody 1 through 9 gets asked to bunt. But on the international side, everybody will do it.
You know, it's funny. We talking to Adam Jones. He, making that transition from being a, major league superstar to playing 2 years in Japan, and he said, they're playing 140 games of small ball. Like, they're basically playing for that 1 run from the first run on. They do that 140 times. It's amazing.
And guys, we're bunting in the first inning. What are we doing here? No balls and 2 strikes on Jesus Ustaris, who takes a breaking pitch inside.
A good curveball here from Vance Worley. We talked about the sinker cutter combination, that big breaking ball coming out of that high arm slot. Really good tilt.
1-2 pitch. That is laced to left center field. That's going to get down for a base hit, and it'll split Seymour and Knowles and go all the way to the wall. It's a 2-run double for Ustaris, and Spain cashes in those leadoff singles. It's a 2-0 lead.
And they are fired up. This Team Spain lineup, plenty of emotion. We saw this in the game today. Early runs, jumping all over Vance Worley. I think he's at his best when he is getting those ground balls, keeping the walks down.
You know, and the crazy thing in the early game was we thought, well, Germany's got all the momentum now. Czech Republic bounced back, tied that game 4 batters in at 3-3, and pretty much cruised the rest of the way on the way to an 8-5 win. But certainly at this stage, Vance Worley and Great Britain have their work cut out for them. It was an 8-4 win for the Czech Republic in the early game today. So as we noted off the top, at least one team will be making its first ever World Baseball Classic appearance coming out of this Regensburg qualifier with the elimination of Germany today. Czech Republic remains alive. They've never played in a full WBC. Great Britain has never played in a full WBC. So if Great Britain were to win today and the Czechs win tomorrow, that would be 2 brand new entrants into the WBC field. But obviously Spain, a very tough customer on the other side for Great Britain to start this one.
You can see Harry Ford just trying to get on the same page as Vance Worley. Slow him down a little bit. Your heart rate jumps when all of a sudden you know, 2 singles right off the bat, 1 pitch each, and then that big hit.
2-0 pitch there for a called strike.
If you can get this pitch over to this big breaking ball, we've seen more and more of this later on in his big league career. He started going to this pitch a little bit more when he was leaving the ball up. He wasn't commanding his fastball the same way he did in his early years with the Phillies. There it is again.
It's Cho Kwan Young, our home plate umpire tonight. He's from Korea. 3 field umpires are Roberto La Madrid from Mexico at first base, Darius Scani from the United States at second, and Mark Winter from the U.S. at third. Vance Worley battling here in the first inning. 3 hits allowed. He's only recorded 1 out. Shaking off Harry Ford, and we got time called now. A little flare out into shallow left, and that one's going to get down. 4 hits in the inning, and it's first and third with 1 out now.
Man, they are piling on the hits. All type of ways as well. We saw some of the ground balls snuck through the infield to start this inning, and all of a sudden, the big double. And now this little parachute shot into left field.
Not the way you want to start it if you're Vance Worley, obviously. And, you know, we talked about this as potentially something that you look at and think, well, no team on the planet ever has enough pitching. And if somebody like Vance Worley comes out and shows in a WBC game that he's healthy and he's effective and he's ready to go, maybe that reopens some doors for him. But this is a problematic top of the first. 13 pitches in, 4 hits, 2 runs already across.
Yeah, you make a great point. 2021 last year, he was in independent ball. He signed back with the Mets mid-season. Didn't quite work out, trying to make a comeback. But this is that big stage. And Tyler, you and I have talked about this throughout this tournament, how this can resurrect someone's career. People are watching.
Ground ball left side. Maybe a chance at 2 here. Throw to the bag at second for 1. No tag on the return throw at first. So Wiley to Blackstone for the first out, but the run scores. And Valerio is aboard with an RBI fielder's choice.
There's a big opportunity to get your guy back in the dugout for Worley. Gets a ground ball double play. You can see right here, Kent Blackstone at second base just kind of lost the grip on that ball as he was coming down from the, trying to make the play, and then Crosby just couldn't get that tag.
So just like it was for Germany in the early game today, 3 home for Spain in the top half of the first inning.
It's Harry Ford talking to his veteran pitcher, 19 years old, the man on his top prospect. Excited to see him come to the box, leading off this bottom of the first.
He has been a revelation to this point in this qualifier, and he's rocking that Modesto nutshell under the mask. What up to the Cal League homies from Barry Ford, who spent the majority of this season in the California League. Spent all of the season, I should say, in the Cal League, but left a while ago, 10, 12 days or so ago now, to come here before the end of the year and play for Great Britain. He actually told us if the Nuts had made the California League playoffs, he would have stayed in Modesto. Swinging a fly ball from Lester Galvan out into right and tracking it. Over at the line, it's dropped. Jaden Rudd couldn't make the play, and the run scores all the way from first. I have no idea what happened out there.
This is a stunner right here. Jaden Rudd just loses his ball at the last second. Was camped underneath it. I think he just takes his eye off it right at the last second.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it looks like he either lost it or he took his head off it, but man, Spain cash in. What a big break for them to get that 4th run here in the first inning.
Needless to say, that goes as an error charged to Jaden Rudd out and right. So a rough start gets rougher here in the first for Worley.
Not only that, you're thinking yourself, you're back in the dugout, you can press the reset button for the second inning. 17 pitches, my pitch count's still intact. Now all of a sudden you got to pile on those pitches. We know how important it is for those pitch counts, some of the limits we'll touch on as this game goes on.
1-strike pitch to Gabrielino, and another chance, this one out in shallow right. Blackstone making the call. He'll give way to Rudd, and that one will retire this side. But 4 across for Spain in the top half of the first. We have the bottom of 1. Spain 4. Great Britain coming up in Regensburg.
Now for Great Britain, getting a chance in the bottom of the first, down by 4 already. Harry Ford, we've talked a lot about him. We will talk more about him. We'll lead off, big prospect with the Seattle Mariners. Kerpeniak, Nick Ward, Justin Wiley, Alex Crosby, Deshaun Knowles, Jaden Run, Ked Blankstone, and Anthony Seymour has been tearing it up in the 9th hole. They'll be up against Loan Sacramento from Venezuela. A little bit of Pro Bowl experience back with the Rockies about a decade ago, trying to find his way back into affiliated ball or professional baseball at some point, but here he is representing Team Spain.
It is kind of crazy to think about how long it's been since Low in Sacramento has been on an affiliated roster. The defense behind him is Galvan in left, Beltre in center, and Quitzer in right. Third and first on the infield, Valerio and Marte on the left side, Angulo and Ustaris on the right side. The veteran Gabrielino behind the plate, and Low in Sacramento on the mound. He has not pitched professionally in any capacity since 2012 with Grosseto in the Italian Baseball League. And he only made 7 appearances for that team in 2012. He hasn't pitched an affiliated ball since he was 20 years old in 2008 for the Dominican Summer League Rockies. And his first pitch to the top Seattle Mariners prospect Harry Ford is off the plate outside, 1-0.
I mean, I got to say, I work for the Mariners. I cover the Mariners. I'd heard all about Harry Ford. I hadn't seen him up close like this. Man, so impressive. On both sides of the ball, obviously behind the plate, but also too offensively. What he's done, that swing, that short swing, hit a couple balls out in this tournament already, only 2 games. Mariners fans, man, if you're listening, if you tuned in, you got plenty to be excited about with this big prospect.
Harry so far through 2 games coming into the night tonight is 3 for 6 with 2 homers and a double. And he clubs this one in the air to center field. Back on it is Beltre. 4 homers. It's gone again. 4 hits, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. And the beat keeps rolling for Harry Ford.
I mean, this kid had some shots to left field. I'm thinking to myself, man, this is impressive. He's got that short stroke. But when you can go straightaway center, that's 400 plus feet up in the first inning and get your team right back in this. You see this little hanging slider? No problem whatsoever. Keep the ball away from the middle of the plate if you're facing Harry Ford. Then I love the little glance back into the dugout as if say, I got this, boys. We're good. Wow.
It is surprisingly similar to the way we saw this game start this afternoon when Germany got 3 in the top of the first. Czech Republic had a leadoff walk and then a 2-run homer in the bottom of 1. They ended up tying that game 3-3 on the way to an 8-4 win. And Harry Ford firing the first shot in the bottom of 1 for his team.
I think, too, part of this as well with some of these players, these young players, we know how talented they are on the field, but had a good chance to talk to Harry the second day I was here and introduced myself, part of the Mariners family, and we're talking about Julio Rodriguez, how much of a spark. Obviously on the field he's so talented, but off the field, the way he treats people, the way he treats his teammate, his infectious energy. Harry Ford has some of that too. Just having a quick chat with him and sort of getting to know the kid, you could just see some of those qualities that you see from Julio Rodriguez, and that's saying a lot.
Matthew Koperniak, the batter. Facing a 3-1 count here. Koperniak, a 143 hitter in the early going here in the WBC qualifier. 1 for his first 8. Took that 1 for his first 7. A couple of walks for him.
And already against Sacramento, fastball around 89, 91 miles an hour. Some good, healthy swings.
Yeah, these are 2 teams that are very much in ambush mode early on. I got to tell them to stop playing Top Gun songs because you're going to run out of this booth all fired up. 3-2 called, strike 3.
Sacramento living in the danger zone right here, middle of the plate fastball. There's your Top Gun reference, man. I've been waiting all week. No, I got pretty fired up this afternoon when I heard some danger zone. I was like, hold on a minute. But you have not seen Top Gun 2.
I have not seen the new one.
Shameful.
I know.
Absolutely. I've seen it 3 times
You
now.
did sell it to me.
I did.
You did. You put. If I didn't know better, I would think like, did Tom Cruise get Ryan to start selling tickets for this movie? There's a swing and a fly ball in the air to center field. Angel Beltre will pursue it and put it away. First pitch swinging. Nick Ward flies out. 2 gone for Justin Wiley.
That's big. I know you've given up that leadoff bomb, but your team gives you 4 runs. You know what? Have a quick inning. Try and keep some of that momentum in your dugout over there at third base.
Wiley 2 for his first 9 here in Regensburg. For being a guy who has not pitched professionally in a decade, kind of impressive. The Lou in Sacramento still touching low 90s with these fastballs. That last one was 89. That ball tanked foul.
Yeah, he looks sharp. See Lena, the catcher, kind of telling him, hey, don't run away from your body. He gets gesturing, trying to give him some mechanical help in that last pitch. But it's just that breaking ball. You see that breaking ball sort of hanging out there, spinning in the strike zone. That's a pitch Harry Ford took out to straightaway center field.
There's a rip left side. That's through for a base hit. So a 2-out single for Justin Wiley.
And right on cue, talking about that slider here, is just kind of dangling. Same pitch. Dropped his arm down a little bit. Had a good swing off. Like I said, there's been some good swings. You're down 3 runs if you're Great Britain, but you're feeling pretty good about how you're seeing Sacramento at this position.
So with 2 gone and Wiley at first now, here's Alex Crosby. First pitch swinging, he'll foul one away. Crosby also a .222 hitter entering the night tonight. The young lady in the second row in that shot in the Yadier Molina jersey, she's walking around with a gentleman that I assume is a partner. He's got a Cubs Anthony Rizzo jersey on. And it just, you know, you can find love anywhere.
That's right.
Good for those two, overcoming their differences.
The German rivalry couple, how about that?
Yeah. .328 feet down the lines here in Regensburg, 400 to dead center, where Harry Ford put that home run off the batter's eye.
Maybe they go from the team store. There's some good merch, Tyler. We have, man, I'm so disappointed. We get here day one. I'm looking at some of these German WB World Baseball Classic hoodies, T-shirts. I'm like, oh, I'll just wait till the last day and grab them. Man, Germany came through here with these big crowds the last couple of days and cleaned them out.
They are getting some replacement gear tomorrow, which I did not need to know because now I'm just going to go back and spend more money. But
spend all your euros?
Yeah. But, you know, it'll be worth it. It'll be good for the stories. Crosby waiting for a 1-2. Sacramento steps away. Yeah, the aesthetic of this team here, Legionnaire Regensburg, is fantastic. Their logos are great. The team colors are great. This ballpark is awesome. They do a lot of things right here at Europe's Showcase Baseball facility as that pitch is down and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's a big scene here, baseball. You don't think that, obviously, and we're covering some non-baseball countries. We talked about Great Britain, Spain, but you know, we get a chance to watch Germany the last couple of days, but man, they have a big fan base. There's a really tight-knit baseball community here in Germany, even Regensburg and surrounding areas. Yeah, you said they're doing it right.
Here's the 2-2 to Crosby. 3 balls and 2 strikes. This is a good at bat. There is a gentleman walking around behind the plate right now, just carrying the head of that France Rooster mascot. I hope nothing too brutal happened to him. Runner off from first. Liner in the air to center, and Beltre will set up and grab it, and that'll do it for Great Britain here in the bottom of the first.